All right, you mob, welcome back to the fucking show. As you can probably hear right out of the gate, we're four drink mommy already. We're starting strong. Son of a bitch. Sorry, guys. Carl just sent me a fucking right ripper of a text. And Carl is the inspiration for tonight's episode. Fuck me. What a way to start the episode. Okay. First things first, little admin housekeeping. This episode is brought to you by not a sponsor. We're not there yet. But this episode is being brought to you by an all-new piece of gear. We decided to listen to Autumn's terrible advice and invest in a new microphone here. So we are recording this on the Rode Pod mic. I see you texting me, Carl, a bunch of fucking times. Yes, this episode is brought to you by the Rode Pod mic. Not sponsored, but I bit the bullet and bought it. And we will see how the sound quality comes out on this bad bitch. But I'm a little nervous because the gain is like cranked right the fuck up to make. She's a gain hungry bitch, this mic. So I do have a booster, not a cloud lifter. Your boy's broke after ordering this fucking microphone, but yeah, we do have the booster coming, but it's going to the house. So we'll see how long this out of town work lasts, and then we'll go from there. But eventually I'm going to be such a bad little girl, and I'm going to buy myself the Rodecaster Duo, and then we'll really be in trouble. Then we're really committed, because at that point I've spent like over $2,000 on this shit. So anyway, yes, the Intrusive Thoughts won, and we have a brand new microphone, and you can talk about drinking, especially about drinking less. Carl has very strong opinions about my alcohol intake. I said, knowing that 2.5 minutes ago, I said, we're four drink mommy. So, oh man, what a ripper way to start the show. Fuck. Thank you, Carl, for all that you do for us and for being just such a genuine human being. You really are a bright spot in an otherwise dark time. Oh, what a way to start the show. We're just going to adjust the mic here because shock horror. We are not professionals, and that's as low as it goes. That's devastating. This mic is too heavy for this fucking mic stand with the arm. So I kind of have to have it set up funny. I'm very genuinely curious to see if the cheap boom arms I have at home are able to kind of take the weight of this fucking. She's girthy. She's a heavy bitch. So I guess we'll see how the boom arms do. And that might be the final push I need to order the Rode mic arm. But I have a few more reviews to watch. I have found a YouTuber I like, so. Okay, 4 minutes in, I feel like I've said nothing of substance. So, what are we talking about here? I'm recording this episode under the assumption that I posted episode 27, despite my better judgment, because Carl is encouraging me to release it and just kind of live by the mantra of fuck around and fight. Son of a bitch. Live by the mantra of fuck around and find out. So, I guess that's. I'm probably, once I get done recording this one, I'll queue up episode 27 for the recording, and this one will be 28. So, but don't y'all worry. Carl will get an advance listen to this one just because the running commentary I got today while she was listening to 27 was just, it brought joy to my morning. So, no real updates. And I was saying this to Carl tonight, like, Sorry, let's really, really hope that the rejection on this mic is as good as I hope it is. Otherwise, you guys just heard something real gross. I was saying to Karl tonight, because I was asking her, like, do you think I should post this? Because obviously it can cause a lot of problems in my personal life for obvious reasons. And she said, I'm a big subscriber to the theory of fuck around and find out. So why don't you roll the dice? And I said, you know, the obvious stuff notwithstanding, with Autumn, like, there is also the question that, like, I have half a feeling that April still listens to the show. So what is she going to think when I sent her this voice note that said, like, you know, goodbye temporarily, which is probably going to be goodbye forever, if we're being honest, because I know that will have pissed her off, and it'll take her a while to cool down about it. So what is she going to think that I sent her this voice note that said that, and then the next episode of the podcast, I talked about her for 25 minutes and how I'm not over her. So, but you know what? If we're fucking around and finding out with one person, we might as well fucking around and finding out with everyone. So I probably will queue that shit up for upload, and then we'll just see what happens. Consequences be damned. It's my podcast. It's my journal podcast, and it is my life, and this is what I'm going through right now. So this is just kind of how it goes. Karl and I have been I have been yawning since I sat down and hit record here, but we've been yarning tonight about all things, honestly. It's kind of a fucking all over the place discussion this evening, but she, as usual, said one thing that kind of led my thoughts down a path, and then here we are. I've had a realization about myself. So we were talking, and she had a good giggle out of this, because she was like, I need you to explain to me what you think a Christian relationship looks like, because I think you have the wrong idea about what it entails. And I kind of walked her through it in the sense that I was like, okay, well, based on everything I've heard at the church, it is supposed to be kind of like you have Jesus at the center of the relationship, and everything should be about building each other up as followers of him, and you know, he should be the center. Like, I can't think of a better way to say it, the center of the relationship. And that kind of makes me wonder, like, is there room for other worldly things? Because I obviously have hobbies and interests outside of faith, as evidenced by the fact that I started a podcast, and I have this new gear obsession, and we're falling right back down the Star Wars rabbit hole, and it's hurting my feelings, and blah, blah, blah. Like, I have all my interests and hobbies that I've always had. So is there room for that when the focal point of the relationship is supposed to be Christ? And Karl just kind of chuckled at me and said, bro, like, I don't know where you're deriving your conclusions from here, but like this, that, and she told me a lot of things that I was kind of like, oh, so maybe I'm generalizing here, and I'm letting the media influence my opinions of this shit a little bit, because it's like, oh, an angle was revealed. Oh my God, I might have ejaculated in my dungarees. So, oh man, I love these ones where I sit down and I'm fucking half cut already, and it just gets so much worse. And this will be the last drink because I do have to work tomorrow. So, but yeah, like, very clearly I have the wrong idea about exactly what, like, a Christian relationship is supposed to look like, because I've never been in one. And this led me to the thought of like, I wouldn't date a proper Christian girl right now because where I'm at, it wouldn't be fair to them to get involved with me in my mess. And I would be very, very scared that I would be the one to lead them astray and kind of pull them off of their walk with Christ. And that is not something I'm willing to do. I have inadvertently done that before with someone, and it still is a sore subject, and it's something I feel a lot of guilt about. So it's not something that I would be willing to chance again. And that said, I have no problem dating non-Christian women and big I have no problem dating non-Christian women and kind of engaging in all these sinful behaviors. So this really says a lot more about me than it does about anyone else. And Karl just kind of said to that, like, I'm looking at it right now. If you wouldn't consider dating a Christian woman because you know you're not ready, then you ain't ready, my friend. And then she sent me a funny little Elmo gif for something unrelated. But this is still, you can talk about drinking, especially about drinking less. Okay, well, this is not the fucking episode to do it on because your boy is into the piss. KFC makes me drink, Karl. That's what it is. It's all the chicken. Karl did show a surprising amount of thoughtfulness tonight when we were talking, and she said, I know you, because I was like, she made this real fancy dinner it sounded delightful. It was salmon, so I wouldn't eat it. Sorry, Karl, but I'm not a big fish guy. But she was telling me, she's like, I did this, and this is what I made, and this is how you make it, and there was some for the dog because it's good for their brain and their coat, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, girl, I had KFC and a rum and Coke. Like, I literally got back to the hotel room, and I had a Pepsi with the combo, and the first thing I did when I got back to the hotel room was pop the top and pour a bunch of rum in. So maybe Karl's right, and I should talk about drinking less. But for now, we're not going to do that. And she was like, I understand that you're having man dinner. And I was like, girl, my ego is not so fragile that I need you to call it man dinner. It is A-OK, senorita, to call it boy dinner and boy math because it is a hundy P boy dinner. But at the same time, like, what do you want me to do here? Because the company won't spring for the rooms with kitchenettes. So all I have to work with is a mini fridge and a fucking microwave. So I can stock my tiny freezer and my tiny mini fridge with frozen dinners and then hoon those into the fucking microwave. But I don't have a ton of cooking options here. I know Caillou brings a fucking hot plate up here somehow and fries meat. But I haven't really dug into that, how he's getting away with that. So... yeah, we've gotten a little bit off topic here. So very clearly, like, Karl believes that I am not ready to be dating. And I'm kind of honestly leaning the same way. After episode 27 there, it's fairly obvious why. But her and I were talking today, and she was trying to be good friend here and not fully bring it back to the faith. And she just said, like, if you feel like you need to work on yourself, then you probably need to work on yourself and not be dating while you're doing that work. And I replied, and I was like, girl, I can hear what you're not saying. And what you're not saying is that, hello? That was a loud noise. Perks of recording in a hotel. I said, girl, what you're not saying is that in order for you to meet the person that God has laid out for you, not laid out for you, what's the right word? I'm a little too drunk to be talking about all this, but in order to how do you jeez Louise, I had no problem doing this today when I was fucking stone sober. Shock horror. So will I ever be able to breathe through my nose on the podcast so that it's not Yonzo Houlihan all the time, every hour, every minute, every second, every day? We don't know. But anyway, yes. In order to meet the spouse that is part of God's plan for you, you need to be the person that they need you to be in order for all this to kind of coalesce and happen. And where was I going with this? Good grief, I'm fucking brain dead half the time. Yeah, so this is what she left unsaid, right? Is that like she's saying you need to do this work on yourself, and I can read between the lines here and see like you need to be the person that the spouse that God has chosen for you, is going to provide for you as part of the plan for your life. You need to be the person for them that they need you to be. So, and she was pleased as punch. She's like, you got it. You picked up exactly what I was trying to say, and I didn't even have to say it. So I impressed Master Karl, maybe a little bit. I don't know. She's going to be less than impressed when she listens to this and hears what a fucking shitbag I am, but you can't win them all. So pick your fucking battles here, honestly. But yes, I very clearly am not fully healed. Obviously, we have discussed this ad nauseum. I am not where I want to be. And okay, this is going to be the Master Karl episode. I'm really sorry to everybody, but you know what? It's better than me doing another fucking episode and spending 40 minutes talking about April. So again, pick your fucking battles and fuck all y'all who don't like it. Hang on. Your boy needs a sippy sip. So, goodbye, train of thought. So long. Goodbye. Karl made the point today where she was like, because the mantra I kind of have right now is like it was a 4 to 5 week relationship. Like, why is this fucking me up so much? And she kind of came back to me and said, you know, you need to stop saying that. You need to be kinder to yourself, because irregardless, or no, that's not a word in Karl. I'm pretty sure I don't know what she teaches. Have I just revealed Karl's job? And I can't edit this. Fuck, because I don't have the son of a bitch. Maybe we need to stop drunk podcasting. Anyway, Karl had said, this is Karl. This is the title of the episode. Karl had said, see, there you go. Fuck me. Let me collect my thoughts here. She had said, like, regardless of how long the relationship was, it doesn't matter, because it still hurts you. You're still hurt by it, and you still walked away from it with the damage. So regardless of if it was 4 weeks, 4 months, 4 years, you're still fucked up from it. So you need to be kinder to yourself and stop saying, well, it was only 4 weeks. Like, why can't I get over this? Because what you're doing is tricking your brain into a cause and effect loop, in that by saying it was only 4 weeks, why am I so fucked up about this? Your brain is going to naturally look for the cause of the effect, which is you being fucked up over a 4-week relationship. And you're just constantly resetting that cycle so that you end up in this endless fucking spiral. And that's probably piss poor paraphrasing, because I am on the piss, but that's about as good as you're going to get. So Karl and Jilly should really be in league with each other, because Jilly has spent a lot of time telling me in many different ways, you need to be kinder to yourself, because you're too hard on yourself and you don't deserve that. And I really internalized a lot of that. I've kind of gotten to the point now where I'm like, hey man, I deserve good things. I deserve good things to happen in my life. I deserve to be loved. I deserve to be treated well. I deserve to be respected. Like, all these good things that I've always wanted, I fucking deserve them. And we're trying really hard not to be so hard on ourselves. And this was a few weeks of the homework where Jilly was like, you need to redirect those thoughts. When you have the thought like, oh, I'm such a fucking idiot, oh, I fucked up, oh, I'm this, oh, I'm that, you need to redirect that thought from the negative to the positive. Like, oh, I made a mistake, but I know the solution, and I've learned from this situation so that in the future I won't make this mistake again. That kind of stuff. And, you know, for all the for what a pain in the butt it was for the first few weeks, it really does work to kind of, if you are, and everyone's favorite word, intentionally, if you are intentionally trying to redirect your thoughts like that, it does make a difference, because I definitely noticed it once I started making an actual effort. I'm doing a lot of hand gestures here for someone who doesn't record a video portion of this podcast. I definitely noticed a difference once I started intentionally trying to redirect those thoughts in that manner, where I could say, you know, normally I would say, oh, you're such a fucking idiot. And I can go, you're not a fucking idiot. You just made a mistake and you've already figured out a solution, and let's just move on from it and learn from it. So there is something to be said for that kind of thought reconditioning. I can't think of a better word for it right now, but so it, oh, hello, who's this? This is Autumn. She is very convinced that she is going to be in bed at a reasonable hour tonight, and I am fully convinced that she is lying to herself, and I have told her as much. So, yeah, Karl, fucking shit disturber. And there's something, like, why do I think like this? Why is it that I wouldn't be willing to date a Christian girl because I would be so worried about my damage infecting them and leading them astray and pulling them off the path? But I have no problem getting involved with non-Christians knowing that I'm not fully healed and someone's going to get hurt. And what does that say about me? Is it that I kind of value someone's relationship with God over there's, like, I don't know how to put it into words right now. This is one I probably need to sit down and write out. But there is something there in that I am more than willing to inadvertently, and can you say it's inadvertent when you know that you probably are going to cause damage? Let's go with inadvertently because it makes me feel better about myself. But is there something there in that I'm more than willing to inadvertently cause damage to non-Christians, knowing that my baggage is going to be a problem, and pretending that it's not, as opposed to not even wanting to get involved with a Christian girl because I would not be able to live with myself, or I'm not interested in living with that much more guilt if I led someone who is a Christian away from Christ and pulled them off of their path in their walk with God. So there is something there that I need to noodle into when I'm a little bit more sober. It's kind of been a big day of, not a big day. Karl and I kind of just got into some shit today, and y'all, I am very, very excited to get her on the podcast, honestly, because she has a lot of insights that I think y'all, even if y'all don't benefit from it, I think a long form conversation with Karl would definitely benefit me personally, and maybe her. I don't know. I don't know that I have anything to offer her because I'm just such a fucking mess. And she said tonight, she's like, let me just turn my reality TV shows down so I can hear about your relationship drama that I'm living vicariously through. So thank you, Karl, for this is not an encouragement or an approval of my terrible lifestyle, but it definitely, I know that feeling of being like, I know that feeling of being like, I see you making poor life choices and I want to live vicariously through them, so I'm going to encourage them, which is something I'm 100% guilty of in the past, especially kind of with the Rizzlord, and I'm not saying that Karl does that, because Karl is constantly like, come on, man. Unfuck your shit, please and thank you. And again, I need to put a little asterisk here and an editor's note. Karl speaks to me a lot kinder than that. This is just creative license and me paraphrasing what Karl says to me in the rudest way possible. So Karl is actually very kind and very much a sweetheart, and I just choose to paraphrase it in a way that I think is funny, because what I think is funny, most people think is funny. So hopefully I can get some laughs out of y'all. Yeah, I got some very strong responses when Karl got to the parts about April in the last episode. And I disagree with some of her conclusions and what she took away from the episode, but also Karl doesn't have the full story, because the podcast does not tell the full story, because I leave a lot out, because a lot of it is not for the podcast. Sorry. You guys don't need the full backstory. You just kind of need the Cliff's Notes, and the specifics of it just kind of can stay between me and her. And then the Autumn situation. I'm feeling like a very large piece of shit, kind of, about the whole thing, honestly. And this is no fault of Karl's. I noodled this out on my own, and I came to these conclusions on my own that, unfortunately, somebody's going to get hurt here, and it's probably going to be both of us, because I put the cart before the horse and jumped the gun a little bit. So, geez Louise, you boys on the piss. And that's really not fair to her. And I'm feeling a lot of guilt about it today, honestly, in that I'm feeling a lot of guilt about it for obvious reasons, because she is going to get hurt, and I wish she wasn't. And I wish this wasn't so difficult, but it is, and I'm just kind of being a sad sack paddywhack about it. So, wah me for making choices that I knew the outcomes to and choosing to ignore it. So, la-di-da-di-da. You know what, y'all? This one's kind of flown by. Let's take a quick little intermission here so I can reply to Karl here and see if she's got any more fucking parlors for me while I have a quick D'Artagnan BRB. All right, and we're back. Do you know what I don't do is drink enough fucking water. Since I got back on the grogs, I definitely don't drink enough water. I genuinely have no idea what the fuck I was talking about before the break, but okay. The break did, however, give me a thought. So I won't date a Christian girl for all the reasons we've said in this episode already, but I'm more than willing to date a non-Christian. And this I'm wondering how much of this ties back to my hesitation to fully re-dive back into the faith, because to date a Christian girl is to, I feel, that's the wrong way to put it. To seek a Christian relationship is to give up a lot of what makes dating fun for me, i.e., raw dogging. Your boy likes fucking. Sorry to everyone who knows me. But at the same time, having been dating for the last few months and dating in a worldly way, I have to say the ability to be out here fucking kind of doesn't outweigh finding a strong emotional connection with somebody and building that part of the relationship first. Because the older I get, the harder it is to kind of have like one night stands and shit, because I need to have that emotional connection with someone before the rootin' really means a fuck. So is it the end of the world if I'm dating and knowing that there's going to be no fucking? And maybe this is just because I'm on the piss and I've been talking to Karl all day and all night. But I gotta say, like, as much as I would miss it, I don't know. I would really like to be in a place where I'm fucking healed enough that I can meet a wife, honestly. And because I'm tired of fucking dating. I'm tired of having these conversations. I'm tired of the same shit over and over and over. And I'm just fucking tired of it all. And I would really like to get to the point where I am okay enough and healed enough that I can really be pursuing marriage and know that I am okay enough to meet that person. So it really is probably time to take a big step back from dating and reevaluate what my priorities are, because I definitely have been dating shallowly. Like, what do I think of you physically? And as much fun as that has been, it's really kind of look where it's fucking gotten me. Trying to pretend that I'm not still damaged from April and not, I don't know. I don't know, guys. Like, clearly I'm going about this the wrong way, because what did Karl say today? Karl said so many things today. Karl is a wise little senorita when she wants to be, and lured me in with adorable dog pictures and hilarious memes, and then bam, all kinds of conviction. So thank you, Karl. It's desperately needed. I'm not complaining in any way, shape, or form. And I have to admire Karl's tenacity and not giving up when I'm clearly such a stubborn little fuck. But what the fuck did she say today? Goodbye thought. It has left my brain. I am no longer attached to it. What were we talking about? Dating, healing. It's gone. Motherflucker. I don't know, guys. Clearly we're just kind of going about it the wrong way, because I'm not getting the results I want. And what's the definition of insanity? Repeating the same action over and over again, expecting a different result. And that's kind of what I'm doing, in that I keep meeting these women off of these dating apps and hoping for a different outcome every fucking time, and then shock horror, it's the same shit, different day, half the fucking time. And the exception to that rule is Autumn, because it's not her fault. It's me and my shit and not being ready for what she's looking for, and me thinking I was ready, and then when we get to that point I go, oh man, I was not as ready as I fucking thought I was. So I don't know. There is a lot to consider here and a lot to kind of noodle out in my own silly little brain, but for now I kind of have to shit or get off the pot and make a decision here about, am I going to listen to Karl, who empirically gives very good advice that I should be listening to, or am I going to listen to what can only be described as the voice of the enemy in my ear going, don't stop. You're fine. This is fine, and you are fine, and there's nothing wrong with what you're doing. But if there's nothing wrong with what I'm doing, then why do I feel this guilt and feel like I'm setting myself up almost for failure here? Like, I don't know. Totally unrelated, by the by, listening to myself talk here with the monitoring. I'd spent today kind of going back through a few of the older episodes of the podcast just because I had some time, and why not, right? Oh man, you boys into the piss. Tomorrow's gonna be a rough one, boys and girls. Having listened to the old one, a lot of the old ones, like I kind of started at 11, 12. Whichever one Dad I've created my entire life he already knows is, which is one of my favorite episodes. Starting there and kind of working my way up to, I think I'm at 22 now or something. I had a lot of free time today, guys. It's kind of funny how I have so much vocal fry when I do the show sometimes. And normally vocal fry like drives me up the fucking wall. I can't stand it. And it's just kind of ironic how on my own show with my own stupid brain in charge of this whole shit, I have no problem just vocal frying up and down all over the fucking place. So really, this episode, that was fucking a nothing burger. That was an aside about nothing. Instagram messages. Is this Karl? It is Karl. How dare you, senorita, agree with me? Don't ask me how, but Karl and I's Instagram chat has just kind of turned into sending each other Christian memes, which I'm all here for because some of them are fucking right rippers. You wouldn't think so, but there's some perlers in there. And you know what? The Pastor Dan is a fucking meme lord all to himself, so I can't really feel too badly about loving Christian memes when my own pastor is the meme king himself who makes his own fucking memes. Yeah, this episode's going to give 16 a run for its fucking money, honestly. And you know what? The thought also occurred to me today that May have been right. And we haven't talked about May in a while, but a lot of what May had said when we were kind of ending that scenario, and also, Karl, how are you going to message me on Instagram and not text me back? What the frick, frack, patty whack? Ooh, sorry guys, that one was gross. A lot of what May had said to me at the very end there, I kind of dismissed out of hand as like, well, this all sounds like an excuse and you don't really know me well enough to kind of say these things about me, and I don't appreciate you talking about me this way and blah, 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 blah. And now, a few weeks removed from that situation and kind of looking at it retrospectively, I can't help but feel like maybe she was a little bit right. And I never fully got into like what she said to me, but rest assured it is very applicable to this situation, and I know that I didn't want to listen to her because I didn't want to hear it at the time, but now where I'm at, I'm just kind of like, ooh, okay. You knew May was right from the very fucking beginning when she said it, and you just didn't want to fucking hear it. So, bad news bears for me. And honestly, bad news bears just kind of all around because I think I know what I have to do here, and I'm not happy about it. And I wish that I had the foresight to have this insight into myself 3 weeks ago. But I can't even say dating fucking sucks anymore because dating does fucking suck. Let's not pussyfoot around the issue here, but I also am not doing myself any favors here. So can I really say dating sucks when I am fucking up the way that I am? Oh man. Carl. Well, this episode really is going to give 16 a run for its money, I think, for just drunk mess episodes, but I am here for it. I genuinely really like these ones because they just kind of make me laugh when I listen back to them. Like, boy, howdy, you were a fucking hot mess express and you weren't ashamed of it. And who knows, a few months down the line, I can come back and listen to this and be like, ooh, boy, this was a cry for help maybe, and you just didn't realize it at the time. All right, you mob. It is past my bedtime, and we have kind of hit my magic number here. So, typical end of the episode housekeeping. If you listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, actually, Spotify has a rating feature. Would you mind going in and giving the podcast a rating? Rate it whatever you feel is fair. I'm not going to fight you for 5 stars. But apparently ratings and reviews on the iTunes store are a big help at some point for some reason. No one has ever succinctly explained it. So I'm not there yet, but I might as well get a fucking jump on it. If you are so inclined. On the Spotify episode page, if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you will find the Q&A section, and it'll say something along the lines of, what did you think of this episode? Any kind of thing you want to send my way, put it in there, fire it off, and I will reply to any and all that I get. And finally, did you know that the podcast has an email? It is dumbereveryday42@gmail.com. Dumbereveryday42. Oh, no, I fucked it up. Name of the show, 42@gmail.com. No spaces. And no spaces just means take the name of the show, add 42 on the end, at gmail.com. No spaces between any of the fucking words. I feel like I shouldn't have to spell this out, but here we are in 2023, and you never know. So, other than that, that is all I have tonight, guys. I am really glad to have been able to bring you a silly old drunk episode again. After 16, I didn't think I'd ever have the wherewithal to do one of these again, so I'm very glad. I can't wait to listen back to this and see what a rambling pile of shit it is, and then post it immediately with not a fuck in the world to give. So I hope you guys are having a good morning, evening, afternoon, whatever time it is for you, and I will catch you, mob, in the next episode. Hooroo.